Okay, we are recording. This is Ryan from Precision Trading Labs, along with one of my star students named Patrick. We are gonna just jump in and do like a quick lesson for today. I was looking at something on the crude oil futures, which I trade a lot, and I found a level that's pretty expensive in the futures. And Patrick found a similar level on Exxon, which is a lot cheaper to trade. So let me show you where I expect crude, if it does break out, to actually hit a slow point. And I highlighted it here in yellow. Actually, I got to tighten it up. Let me move this around. My controls there for the webinar. There we go. And crude's right here at 64.70. Once it gets above 69.39, we're going to look for now where can it possibly slow down. And you'll see here I have some overhead resistance here where price is coming down from. But you'll see in between these two lines, that's about, let's see, 3,000, no, almost $4,000 in risk, like 3,800, let's say. So to play this on the futures, to short it, I have to have potential of really 4 times my money. If this trade doesn't work and I lose almost 4 grand, I'm not going to be a happy camper. So I'm going to take a look at a level on Exxon that
Yes.
Patrick
And
looked at.
we were
So
talking about,
go ahead.
I mean, two of the reasons that you wouldn't want to, short the futures of this is because it's just too much risk. Like he was saying, it's a weekly level, meaning each bar is worth a week. So it's, those tend to be a lot bigger trades risk level wise. And we were talking like, oh, well, could you use USO, the ETF for crude oil to short this instead to express the trade? But we were also talking about you just don't get very good movement out of USO. I think Ryan was bringing up a chart there of USO, and
Yep.
it just wouldn't. It's just not as clean of a level. So that's where we then from there we said, we have this great supply level where we expect some selling on the crude oil chart, but how could we express the trade differently? So then we started taking a look at something like ExxonMobil, which if crude's going to drop, then ExxonMobil is also going to drop, especially after the run it's had recently.
Patrick, why don't I'm going to turn over to you. Why don't you show your chart of Exxon and hold on one second, make you the presenter. Show your send present and change presenter to Patrick Webb. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You see me?
Not yet. Give it a second. Sometimes once you become the presenter and you click like yes, it takes a second. But then this way
Yeah.
you can show what you're looking at on Exxon. Obviously I could do it, but let's see what you're talking about. Did it hand you controls? Because I don't see
Let
it.
me know. Oh yeah.
Waiting to
Oh
view
wait,
Patrick's
sorry,
screen.
I have to download something.
Okay. Well, can you still see my screen, or I don't think so, right?
Um, not one second. I'm not there
Well, there
anymore.
you go. Now you're up and running.
Oh, you see it?
Yep, I can
Okay.
see your screen now, so you can bring up toss.
Okay. So yeah, here we go. We have this in purple here.
I
That's the
oh, there we
supply
go.
level
Okay, you're good to go.
that is kind of similar to crude oil. Like if we look at that crude oil level again, there it is. And that's about, I think we found it was about 14% higher than where it's trading at now.
Mhm.
Um, give or take a little bit. So, it's not unrealistic to think that if crude oil increases to that level that we wanted to short it at, that ExxonMobil also wouldn't increase about 12%, with a 14% increase in crude oil. And at that point, another thing we'd be looking at for this level is to make sure that the arrival, meaning this entry, the way that price gets to that level, we want to see it be very strong. We don't want to see it kind of take its time to get to that level. Sorry. We don't want to see it kind of slowly get to that level. We want to see it really drill into that level quickly, and then we'd expect a powerful move downward out of that level. And we'd be looking for targets using risk and reward, hopefully, at least 3 to 1, something
Mhm.
like that. So that would give us a target right here around $93. Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to add, Ryan?
No, I mean that's a $7 move. I'll take that. I mean the other way to play this to save money, because this is actually a small level for a weekly chart. This is only what $2 wide, so that's fine.
Right.
But at the same point, it's $100 stock. So it's obviously our entry point's 98.74. But if we got in at 100, and let's just say you want to do 200 shares, that's 20 grand, right? So one of the ways
Right.
to play this is using options, which I don't want to get into the intricacies of whether you want to use a spread or just buy a put or whatever. But let's just say you want to buy puts. Let's just say even if you spend $2 for the puts, your only outlay on the equivalent of 200 shares then is $400. Now that's much better risk than risking $100. But that's a topic for another day. But I was just going to go into another way that you could play that same setup that looks really good and take a little less risk. So that's the only thing I would add.
Yeah. All right. Um,
What else
is
are you
there any
looking
other
at?
setups?
No, I mean, on oil, I
Well,
wanted to do the real quick. I wanted to talk about just like the correlation. Oh, you know what? Pop up XLE because so many people trade the ETFs at this point. The levels also on XLE looks pretty good. That trades pretty much in conjunction with CL and Exxon.
yeah. You see that similar level right there. Some people would maybe take this, right? Would you
Yeah.
say?
Oh yeah. No, that's
It's
something. It's
not it's
just.
not as good of a level to short at, but
Mm-hmm.
um,
Well, there's
you
almost
could.
a okay looking level on crude oil currently, but I don't like the one we've been talking about. I like better, so that's the one I'm focused on. So I like the same goes for this XLE level. I prefer this one that's a little bit higher. Now, am I going to miss a trade
Yeah.
that I could trade today? Absolutely, but I'm okay being a little bit more patient and waiting for this guy.
Yeah. And it's important to note that we started with this crude oil chart for a reason because all those other things are so heavily correlated to those that this is the chart that's really leading the rest of those things, whether it's XLE or ExxonMobil. And we talked about Chevron and some of the bigger oil ones, and I'm sure you could find other levels in those.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if you have some offhand. Do you know the ticker for Chevron? What is it?
CVX.
CVX. Okay, that one's a bit stronger. So you don't really see it there. In fact, there's hardly
There you
any
go.
oversupply.
No. Is this new high? Oh, there's a high right there, 135. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there
that
are.
being said, I wouldn't be shocked if it starts to come down a lot. Now, I'm not saying you should short. Just to be clear, I'm not saying you should short it. I'm actually curious to see how this is correlated to how much this is correlated to oil, whereas Exxon looked, perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
What else are you looking at?
Um, Other than that, let me pull up my watch list here. So I try to keep a watch list of. I like to trade daily and weekly setups from the daily chart and the weekly set chart. Some people, trade shorter time frames or whatever. So I keep two watch lists. One of my weekly levels setups that I'm waiting on triggering, so that when they do start to pull back, if it's a demand zone, then I know. And I think I'm kind of long biased, so I have a lot of longer setups.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one on Ford that kind of completely failed. This purple level here. It wasn't the best level, but it was just something I kind of had my eye on. Ryan, I know you're not a huge trend line guy, but I did notice that it broke out from that trend line. So that's
Yeah, I
something
got it.
I kind of like to use just as a personal, flavor to what we do.
Whatever.
Um,
And I can talk about real quick, just on your selection of that level right there. It's just not that strong. No, it looks good here. This looks good.
yeah. Well,
What
this
is
is
this?
okay. So this is West Rock Energy. I think it's an energy. Oh, I'm sorry. No, West Rock. Looks like the paper and packaging. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's a nice level there, and I really like again adding flavors to what we do. I really like that it's at this former
Resistance.
resistance or supply, however you want to look at it. Um,
Yeah. No,
International paper.
I like
Wait,
that.
so clearly there's something going on in that paper space. If we
It's a
find two
very
setups,
competitive market, apparently. We didn't even know this.
yeah. But it's interesting that that stocks that are in the same sector as we should point out before with those two oil stocks,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to look. You tend to find setups that show you the same thing.
Yep.
I mean that's probably why a lot of traders just prefer to trade the sector ETFs now.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, take less single stock risk that way, but There's Nucor Steel Company, again at that former supply level.
Now
Um,
let me say one
and
thing
these are just set up.
about using
Sure.
the weekly level is that the only negative is that you may be waiting a while for these trades, but they're using higher think of this if you get something out of this video, the higher the time frame, the higher the reliability of your trade. I don't
Right.
know if
Like
that
so
work,
this CXS in this chart, like, yes, it's only one candle that the base is, but if you put it into a daily chart, look at that. I mean, it spent one, two, three, four, five, six, almost, over a week. It spent, obviously because it wasn't a weekly chart, but it spent like 7 days in that price level. So there's a lot of market memory, if you will, there.
sure.
Um,
No, I prefer that too. And using the higher time frames, the higher the reliability. You're trading a lot less and getting more money. Ooh, what was? Oh, sorry.
these are daily setups now.
Okay. Hey, no,
Um,
it's weekly and daily. I mean, the majority of traders that are on, that we talk to or anything like that, they're looking at 1, 5, and 10. Like Patrick and I talk to a lot of prop traders, and they're looking for activity to make money. And no, you don't necessarily have to do that.
yeah, here's one on Affleck that I found last week.
Ooh,
What's interesting about these trades is like this is something that Mitch taught me that basically when you have last week there was a really big sell off in Affleck. They had some piece of bad news out, I think some accounting scandal or whatever. Um, and when you have a piece of really bad news or something like that, you put it into a high time frame like a weekly chart, and then you look for some sort of support level, some sort of place where price could maybe find some support and turn around. And so then we put it in a weekly chart, and the first thing coming down when it was approaching was we found this. And here it's worked out. It looks like it would have given you 3 to 1 by now.
yeah. I mean, that
Um,
looks like 3 to 1 to me.
yeah, right. Even within your first week, you would have had 3 to 1. But
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually
I
at
know
five
these
to one
are.
right now. Looking at it, I'm pretty sure I can't really see the actual current price, but it looks like
Yeah,
5 to 1 currently.
um, yeah, and these are all just daily levels um, that I have set up for a couple clients we work with, where they like to sell puts. I think I was telling you earlier,
Yep,
Ryan,
I know the
around
gentleman
these
you were speaking
levels.
of. Yeah.
Not something that I personally would do, but to each his own.
Yep.
Um, is there anything you wanted to look at in
No,
particular,
I
or
mean,
anything
I
that?
don't know how deep I should go into anything else since I wanted to correlate the future since I trade primarily futures, and I do some stock. I wanted to keep it to like a stock centric video. But if you don't have anything else to talk about, we can wrap up, or I can close out just kind of like going through looking at some other stuff. But
Yeah, why don't we do that?
yeah, let's close out and keep this just like a stock centric video then. And I'm
Sure.
glad everyone got to hear from you because as I like to say as a positive about people, you know your shit. And,
I appreciate it.
yeah, yeah, it's a compliment, and so I wanted our peoples to see you doing your thing because you rock at this. So, ooh,
Thank
look
you.
at that!
Learn from the best.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Look at that near miss right there on
I
TSO.
know, I
Oh,
know.
that blows on TSO.
Again, I mean, it's just maybe how I drew it, or
I mean, I don't
um,
think you did anything particularly wrong. Same with right here, that last one you're looking at, but like, I see why this could have. I mean, if you look
yeah, I
at
would
that
have had to
little,
use it like
if
that.
you go to a little bit to your left, you will see that little like doji candle there on the lower part of your other line. So maybe like, yeah,
I see.
up a little bit more. Yeah, so maybe if you turn this into a weekly, but either way, I mean, no, it's not like it's a
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
trade. It's a mistrade, no big deal. Move on.
Oh, I guess you could have used this as. No, I would have missed. So,
No,
but
of
you'll have those. It
course.
happens.
I at least one or two good ones a week that I'm like, wow, I could have made $2,000 on this one, that one, and here I am. So
Yeah.
it looks like this. To be honest, another
It's good to
energy.
be. It's a good thing to be picky when you're looking through these setups. You want
Uh,
to find something that really, really you feel comfortable with. You don't want to have. If you even have a second thought, just throw it out and find something better.
Go back to Tsiro, TSCO, or whatever that is, the oil
Uh,
name.
tra- Tractor Supply Co. Yeah.
Whatever that I think that's an energy name too, right?
Tractor Supply Car? No, that's
No. Okay, so commodity
tractors.
related.
It's like John
So
Deere.
thank you. Yes,
Yeah, it's probably
I got it
20.
by the name. But if you go back to the weekly chart, that looked like it was heading into a supply level also.
Oh, I didn't even. Ah, yeah, yeah. It's a nice level actually.
Yeah.
I would probably draw it like.
I think I would take
Where
that
would
whole
you?
yeah that whole range. I would do just because it's a weekly chart. You don't know that you don't want to. Let's see how much the risk is. I mean, it's only $3 for a
You're saying you would do this whole little this
yes.
thing, right?
That whole incline there, I would take that whole thing. Yeah, no reason to leave that off. Now this doesn't look like
Yeah.
we'll see by the end of the week what this entry point looks like, but this isn't a big level for a look at that giant move out of there. So this shouldn't have a problem getting you a little bit better than 3 to 1. So
Yeah. I mean, it's probably worth it to note that earnings are not too far away on the
what's the date of the
31st.
earnings things? The 31st. So we have basically 8 days. So this is a weekly chart. This is probably I have a feeling this is gonna have to do we pass on all announcements or all trades going on into the earnings announcement. So a weekly chart you're gonna have to hold for a couple of days. Excuse me. So if this chart were to hit Friday and then the announcement's Tuesday, you don't know how long it's going to take to be in this trade. So the best bet is just to pass and go on to something else.
Yeah.
Don't try and get
I
creative.
mean, there might be a way you could do it with options, but that's just not.
It's
That's not
not,
what I do.
to be honest with you, right on. If it was right on top of the earnings announcement, it's going to make the options so much more expensive than they normally would be. So you're going to be paying a
That's
lot,
true.
and
Yeah.
it's just not
Right.
worth it because
Implied
there's
volatility would be
yeah,
very expensive.
yeah, like there's like an
Would make the options very expensive.
yeah, you would have to be in that like kind of soon, and you're adding to the risk. Move on to another trade, but be careful of this current
Absolutely.
season with earnings basically starting to kick up now. Um, it's on our way. So the next 3 weeks or so, there's going to be more and more names. So just be careful with that. I'm not telling you. I'm telling anyone who's listening.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Cool video. You have anything else you want to look at? I see you popping up Netflix. Anything?
No, nothing really. I'm just flipping through for my own
And it's funny,
sake.
actually, real quick on that last note, you'll see Netflix. There we go. Look at that big gap up on Netflix on earnings, right? So like if you were short
Yeah.
for some reason and now you're underwater, $30 or so, better off wait for the next trade. So they came out with earnings yesterday, I believe, or 2 days. No, it had to be yesterday, right? Because it's
Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday after the
so
market.
last night after the market closed, came out with earnings. So today, look at that gap up $30. You do not want to be on the other end of that if you're short. At the same point, if they had bad earnings and they gap down $30, you don't want to be on that side either. So better to just move on,
That's true.
look for another trade. But
Yeah.
I think that is our logical stopping point. Hold on 1 second. Well, let me take controls back from you. And what am I doing here? Keyboard and mouse, make presenter. Let's see, show my screen. All right, cool. If you guys enjoyed this video, please go to, first off, like us on YouTube, but second, go to our website, precisiontradinglabs.com, and either download our free report right here, put in your name and email address, and that'll get sent right to you. And if you want to actually have a conversation with me or my partner Mitch, and to that matter, if you want to talk to Patrick, I'll get his okay to talk to him. And you have some trading questions or you'd like to know about some of our classes, you can schedule a call with us right here and use the calendar that work on a schedule that works for both of us. And we'll be in touch soon. But in that, good video. Thanks for taking the time to do this with us, Patrick. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course, of course.
All right, cool. Have a safe trading day, guys. Take care. Bye.